At least I got past
User
this lap.
disconnected from your channel.
4 minutes 4.45.
That was you, man. Bloody hell, when I saw that time, I was like, God damn.
When I came in, I was just completely dejected tonight.
Yeah, I had a belting lap then when I did that 4 minute 4. That was a bloody belting lap.
Alright,
knew
is it going to
what
be under
I saw.
clubs and leagues? Yeah, there it is. For the Aussies.
Just shows when you get all your lines right how much time can fall, doesn't it? I
Certainly
mean,
does.
you were quick, Blib, and I just couldn't believe I got 2 seconds on you qualifying.
Oh, is 17.
Yeah, qualifying, I think.
Had a bummer lap.
Andrew, I cannot find it.
What are you looking for?
It's in the Australian,
What?
right?
No, just go into Automobilista. Go into Automobilista.
That's where I'm at.
Well, you don't even have to do that.
Go into AMS.
I am. I'm in Automobilista Racing Clubs and Leagues. Oh, the Touring Car Championship. I'm sorry.
There it is.
Go into forums, go into Sim Racing Leagues, RD Touring Car Championship,
There it is.
open that up and it'll have it right there. So if you have a look at round 5 Brands Hatch, which should be the second entry,
It is.
it has the times there.
Okay.
So 20 AEST or 10 GMT.
Right. 10 GMT is all I need. Yep. And that is 5 a.m. I
Yep.
might not see the stream.
No. You can always watch the
might not see-
replay after, mate.
Yeah, I might not see the stream.
And they record it, so yeah.
Does anybody have the full replay of the race tonight?
I'm uploading it right now.
Yeah.
URP?
Yeah.
Thank you. Because mine, I forgot to set it up and cut my quality back a little bit to make sure I had room. I'm only set at like, I think 750 meg.
Probably download it. That's like 500, shouldn't it?
But I just, you guys up front, man, good grief, they were flying.
I don't know how I lost so much time from the pit stop.
Well, I want to know. I've been online racing for 4 months, so I don't have a lot of experience in this. So I know, Toby, I think you've done it quite a bit, haven't you?
Right, I'm gonna get off, chaps.
So Toby's
No
got
worries,
like,
mate.
what, he's got like,
I'll see you online in the morning, Andrew.
Yeah,
Bye,
mate,
Alan.
I'll be doing some laps, so I'll be on somewhere. Just send me a Steam message or.
No, I think you're best sending me one because I might be still asleep.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm gonna set me alarm because it's the morning for me.
Yeah.
Good night, Alan.
Yeah, sweet as, mate.
Yeah. I'm
Thanks
gonna
for
set-
coming, man.
No worries, anytime. I'm gonna set me
Yeah,
alarm now.
thanks for kicking our asses again, mate. That's okay.
Well,
Yeah,
I
and
am-
cars
I
that
came-
you absolutely hated about a month ago.
I know. I came ninth, guys. I didn't win it. I came ninth.
I know. And
Because
it was only because you
your
came to.
engine was getting knackered, man. Good
Well,
grief.
Because you kind of, I mean, drive it like you stole it, but that's taken it to the limit, mate.
I had my pedals do me that way one time. I thought something was happening in the car because I always run in practice. When I run by myself, I run 100% damage. And so I thought something happened to the car, and it wasn't that at all. It was something to do with my pedals.
I knew it wasn't
Yeah.
pedals because I could hear it in my headphones, engine stuttering, and the rev gauge was just, flickering. But
Yeah,
when
well,
it-
that's what I'm getting. That's what happened to me before, but it was my pedals.
What, you mean your old G27 pedals?
No, it was
User disconnected from your channel.
Bart Alec.
Not your new V2s.
But really, I mean, that happened to me, and I'm like, man, I cannot get full throttle out of this thing. And something happened while I was racing, and I wasn't getting but about 2/3 throttle. And you're a sitting duck. I mean, when I came up on you, I knew something was wrong because I mean, I never should have caught you.
Yeah, I noticed how he got his shit together just as I was catching him.
Well, hey, you can't let a convict pass him.
I tell you what, if it had started passing me, I'd have just round him off road and got a ban for a month. I wouldn't have cared less.
Hey,
I
now
would
look,
have fucking cared less.
The month's
Alright.
ban would have been worth it, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
all right,
Fuck the
you
convict.
go to bed.
Kill
you go
him.
to bed and think about this. But AK and Toby need nicknames. So next time we get together, be
Right.
thinking about nicknames.
Well, I can't believe you've kept it so quiet about getting some new pedals. That's sneaky, innit? That is just damn right.
Absolutely. You know what?
Never said a word to anybody thinking, oh, I might be getting some new pedals. But no, just comes in, oh, Brandon, I want fuck off.
Well, hey, you know why Nico Rosberg? You know why he retired?
Because shit.
Because I'm gonna bring him in to drive for me.
Well,
I would get Michael to do it, but that unfortunate accident, so I can't do that. So I'll get Nico. I'll get another German.
No, it's shit.
Man.
Wow.
But you know
You
what?
always-
Tonight,
You could always get Michael's brother.
What, Ralph? He would have shit and all, wouldn't he?
he wasn't bad. But I tell you what happened with me tonight. It's because load cell is completely new to me. And last night when we were driving, Alan, it's the first time I had ever used them. So
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
having to set up the throw. I'm having to set up the throw, and I can't quite work out the sensitivity as far as how much weight to put on it, because I don't. These things are so old. They don't work with the software.
Is that V2?
Yeah, they're the V2s. What do,
Oh, okay.
do you have them?
Yeah, I use V2s as well.
What do you use to, like, our little potentiometer that we use for
Yeah, the
for setting
sensitivity.
the,
Don't tell him.
I usually
Don't tell
put
him. No, fuck him.
You
Don't
gotta tell me.
No, let him look at himself. No.
I usually do 7 to 10. You know, depends on the car. I think sorry, for the Porsche GT3 Cup, that car is a little more sensitive on brake, so I use 10 for that. So for the GT2 here, I use 10 for the GT3 Cup. I use 7 for normal ABS, non-ABS cars like the GT2s.
So that's
You
4
7?
and 9, Bobby. That's 4
Yeah,
and
7,
9.
yeah.
No,
4 and 9. Thank you. All right, let me ask you this.
Don't
Yes.
tell him.
All right, the tutorial that I found, I guess, from the guy from Fanatec, he's sitting there pushing on the pedal, and he's using the potentiometer to set it right there. Do you have to do that in conjunction with one another, or can I just turn it down without touching anything?
Well, honestly, I didn't do that but like you said, it takes a while to get used to it because if you come from a TX or a Logitech, all you just have with that you're using the travel range. But
Correct.
with this, it's the pressure.
This is
So
pressure.
it takes a while for your head to get used to it, and it took me probably a month or 2 or 3 weeks for me to actually even get up to pace to what I was able to do before with my shitty TX pedals. And but after that, it was awesome.
What's V1's like?
The V1s, I wouldn't invest in them. I think just go for the V2s. The good thing about the Fanatec pedals is that you can always get your money back if you plan on selling them. So get the V2s. The V1s.
So when
Yeah,
you
wait,
when
but
you, when you turn the
yeah.
potentiometer yourself, do you just turn it down from 10 to 7 without touching anything else?
Yeah, that's what I do. I don't think you have
So
to.
I don't have to push the pedal and turn it at the same time, correct?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Maybe
Oh.
it's a requirement, but I just haven't done it like that.
No,
It works just
if
fine.
you notice a difference just doing that, that's going to help me tremendously.
Well, the difference I do notice is you do have 7 is less sensitive than 10. So with 10 you have more, how I put it, more pressure points, a wider range.
Right.
So that helps. And with the Porsche, that car is so finicky. I think it's when I put it to 10, it really helps with that car because just the tiniest of travels trying the tiniest of pressure makes that car just lock up. So
Well, say I'm
You know,
hoping to be able to run the non-ABS races every now and then with
Yeah.
the European guys.
yeah, it's still gonna take a while. But I mean, even I'm horrible with the Porsche Cup But I think the GT2s are a lot more easier to manage. But the Porsche Cup is like wow, like every single track, I'm probably like 2 seconds down compared to one ABS and non-ABS. That's how
Right.
fine it is. Yeah.
Well, that's that way for me too. But I mean, it. I got it. I got like I said, I used these last night, and my best time last night was, and I never would have been able to do it with the G27s, but I did a 4083, and
Okay.
so I adapted to them pretty quick. But I kept locking up going into you go down after you go through the chicanes on the mall sign, you go down to the final right-hander to that back straight.
Okay.
That one right there, I had my braking point, and just every now and then I would lock up a little bit too much, and
Okay, so,
wasn't able to turn in.
One of the things, at least with the GT2 cars, is you don't want to be too afraid of locking up. There's there's different kind of locking up. There's heavy lockup, and there's light lockup. So with the GT2, when you have a light lockup, you can just peel back a little bit, but you don't want to be afraid of. You don't just want to get off the pedal, because then you're not gonna stop as quickly as you want to. But a little lockup sometimes when it's light is it's not a bad thing. But with the GT3 Cup, you have to talk to someone else, because I suck on that car like real bad.
But what I noticed that
What's that?
that corner,
Oh, I think you're cutting out.
that
Right,
track
guys, I'm
wasn't.
going to get off.
Good night,
Okay,
Alan.
take care,
Yeah,
man.
right.
Yeah.
I'll catch you later, man.
I'll see you later on, Andrew, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, Paul.
Of a bomb
User
just
disconnected
before that
from your
corner.
channel.
And if you
hit the bump, yeah, it messes
if
up
you
your
hit the
braking.
brake before the bomb, you're
Yeah,
more likely to stop. But if you hit it when the bomb,
shows up
when you hit
just
it when
right
the
there.
bomb, yeah, when you hit it when the bomb dips, that's it. You're definitely. I was
You
having.
will make the corner, yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed, driving with these pedals already, like you said, a little bit of lockup's okay, because your inside front tire is always going to want to lift a little bit and give you just a little bit of lock. So that's no big deal. I've followed you guys that are fast many a time before, and puffs of smoke coming off of it does not affect y'all's time. I mean, it just happens. But that corner right there, maybe it was me having trouble with the bump. I don't know. I never noticed it. I was running my car fairly soft.
Yeah. The other thing I could think of is maybe your brake point was just like that corner. I don't take chances. I just I brake just before the curves. The curves that lines the curve. I brake just before that. So it's kind of how I put it. It's kind of weird, but it's I've seen people that actually brake after that. I mean, they're that good, without ABS.
The curb's on the left?
Oh, sorry, on the right.
On the right, okay.
On the right, yeah. So I've seen. So personally, I brake just before that, and I think if you brake before that, it gives you just enough time, regardless of how you're braking, to make the corner and to stop, to slow down enough to make the corner and not lose too much time. Because losing time in braking, you can't lose too much, maybe like a tenth. But the problem is when you start locking up and running wide, then the time increases exponentially. It's a lot.
That's where the old saying about slow in, fast out really comes into play with these cars. I mean, because that's what I noticed is I would be better off to go and be slowing down too much so I could ease off the brake pedal to gain my speed that way than I was. If I went wide, you're toast. I mean, you're going to lose 3, 4, 6 tenths.
Yeah,
maybe
even more. Yeah, I mean, one of them is probably quick is. Well, I'm not quick really, but I mean, I've raced this track. This is probably my 4th time on the race department. So the GT3 race, the GT3 Cup, and I think there was there was another GT2. Wait, was it GT2? No, I think that was a regular server. But yeah, I've raced the server a couple of times plus some practice. So that I probably have that going. So
well, I put in quite a bit of time on it, maybe not as much as y'all, but I mean, you know, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't matter how much time I put into it. I'm not going to run the lap times you are. I just,
No,
I
don't
tell
worry,
all
don't take
these
time.
guys that we race with
comes.
all the time,
Surprise.
there's some guys that just have that little something that some of us don't.
Why though? We're not.
Believe
I know
me,
I
you think
can
we
get
have
better.
something? There are guys that have something. Well, I mean, definitely, like I said, you know, the thing is, you know, you don't have to rush it too much. You know, just I watch YouTube videos. That's probably where I picked up most of the stuff I know so far.
Yeah.
And you know, I just follow the fast guys. You know, watch my replays. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, break points. You know, try to feel the grip. Wait, do you use a Fanatec wheel as well?
I do.
Oh, nice, nice.
No, I'm sorry. No, I don't. I use a G27.
Oh, just I mean, it works. I've seen fast guys with one, but I was gonna say, but I mean, but what I witnessed is that I mean, if you're saving towards one, it's pretty good. The feel through the wheel definitely improves. I mean, it gives you a more finer detail of what the track feels like. I mean, you can know when to push. You know, I'm not forcing you to go out and buy one, but I'm just like, if you're considering one, then you know you have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these guys that we
I think
race
that-
with in here, that's the reason I do it. I've gotten to know Andrew and Magnus and Pete and Alan and some of the others that were in here. I mean, we've just got a pretty tight little group, and
Yeah.
and you guys coming just makes it that much better. I mean, we appreciate it. I hope we stay out of your way, but at the same time, I hope we offer you some racing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys are getting better, and you know, moving towards stack. It's the racing is always better that way. Like when I go to the EU guys, you know, and those guys whip my ass, you know, I always keep going back, man, for more.
Yeah, and that's
Guys
I
are
raced
fast,
in
though.
I raced in that the Merc and the Porsche last week with the European guys.
Oh, okay, you were there. Oh, okay.
And yeah, you were there, and Roop and I were the last two. And because you know, so many people dropped out because I guess they just get frustrated or whatever. My pit stop strategy didn't work last week because I'm so used, you know, I didn't want to change the compound of the tire, so I thought, well, no change.
Oh, okay.
And I know you have to at least put a compound in there or you're not going to get tires. And so when I went into pit, and my tires were shot. I mean, I was down in the 30s, the low 30s.
Wow.
And so I got fuel, went back out on them and made it back around. And then when I came back in, I changed, you know, the strategy to get tires. But you know, I know how that stuff goes. But you know, Roop and I, we hung into the end, and I mean, he and I battled to the very last.
Nice. Yeah, I mean I actually make that mistake now because I think the first iteration of the pre-configuration it just defaulted to the tires you had. You didn't have to, you know, select the tire. So
Didn't change
I
them.
just yeah. So that's basically what I mean. So I didn't change my tires, and it cost me because all the other guys had fresh tires. And well, I mean I did. The thing is, what I noticed was that I was able to get out before the guy that got in before me. I think it was
It was me.
I believe.
It was
Yeah.
me. I don't know how you did that because I saw you way behind.
Yeah.
Next thing you were flying past me. I was like, how did he get out so fast? Because I know
Exactly. I
the
didn't
tires.
get
I know
didn't
the
get
tires
tires. Yeah.
take the longest to change.
So
But you were out of the gates before me. I was like,
what the fuck?
did this guy?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
you know what? I would have even be faster if I had, you know, the exact amount of fuel I needed because I actually had like 20 minutes worth of fuel, you know, at the end of the race. You know, but like I said, you know, live and learn. So probably
That
next
was me
time.
too. You know, so when I pitted the next time, we'll put more fuel in again.
I actually did.
And
2
so I
days ago.
had 2 stops to get 1 set of tires and got filled up twice.
Nice.
So, but you know, I really thought the mediums last week would have lasted, and because I'm new to the staff here at Race Department, I've just had a whole lot to do, and so I didn't get to practice like I thought I would because what I would have found out was you run the hard tires.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, you can run the hards and the mediums, but you know, the mediums just went off like almost like softs do. And I was like, dang. It was fun. It's always I always enjoy racing over there because, like I say, I learn a lot just by being in the race.
Well, definitely, yeah.
And that's why, that's why I was saying the MX-5 Cup today. That was very surprising to me because it's usually pretty clean. And today there was just mistake after
chaos.
mistake.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, like, how long was it taking for a whole lap? Like 8 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time.
On
But
this
I
track,
was watching, okay, you go down Mulsanne, how it's basically two lanes wide. So, had somebody that got the tow, they move out over to the right. And so now you've got a guy to the right, these two guys to the left. Then one of them starts easing back in like he wants part of the main track because there's no way in the dusty parts you can make the braking zone. And I'm like, you can't do that.
You
Can't do that. You have to either get bound to get over, but you can't just keep pushing somebody to the edge of the track.
Exactly,
And that's what
yeah.
and it was unusual to see that. And that was in the top. That was at the. That was in the top 10 too. So you don't usually see that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, I mean, at some point, after a while, you're just meant to, give up the corner and just be like, okay, there's always, there's still more chances for me to pass. So
that's the
Sure.
thing though, because when you're behind someone, you're more likely to catch the slips. Then
exactly.
there's a chance to.
yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
understand why
I remember
have got
the
a chance they try and push their way in. Stay
Yeah.
on your lane. Going into a corner, try and maintain.
I know
Diving
when I
into
raced in the I guess the first race I did with them was in the Carreras, the Porsche Cup, and
Okay.
with no ABS, and I didn't know it was a non-ABS event. So I show up. I had been
User joined your
practicing.
channel.
I showed up, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to find new braking points because I don't have ABS as a a security blanket. What am I gonna do? And then when I qualified probably 6 places higher than I should have because I found this like magical lap. So I'm sitting in the middle of the top 10 and I didn't belong there. So all I did when the lights went green, I was smart enough to know, just hold your spot. They're gonna pass you. Don't have to fight too much because 3 guys behind you at least are faster than you. And that's what I did. I don't. I'm not going to
your
be able to
place.
hold that position through a whole race.
User joined your channel.
Like I was saying, if Toby was close to me, I would have given up. I know he's a lot better on the brakes than I am. There was
Yeah.
no way I could have dealt with you if you gone past me and hadn't.
Yeah, I'm like my
Yes.
tires is. I was thinking that I put the tires in, but I mean when the pit stop finished, I was like, oh shit, I didn't see any tire animation, so I think I messed up, and I started going out. But for some reason, I was feeling optimistic that tires were gonna hold, but my rears were just like sliding all over the place. I wasn't getting traction. I was like, oh man, I'm fucked.
The rares on that car go because that car.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and I forgot to also reduce the height, so I didn't have as much. But like I said, it was a fun race. Pretty fun because I really like. I was I was pretty much at the back, and when we got off, I got a very good takeoff, and I just made it my way a little bit. And before I knew it, I think I was like 7th.
Fourth. Yeah, I saw you in fourth when I checked the list out. What? He's in fourth?
Yeah, that was after a while because I was
you
chasing.
didn't finish qualifying.
No, actually I came late, so and I had to restart my PC. I think if when I joined I just went out, I probably would have made it, but I had to restart my PC because it's messing up. But anyway, it was a fun
When I
race.
saw you in
Very,
fourth,
very
I was
fun.
like, oh man, that's coming again.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was like, wait, are the Corvettes really that slow and straight? Well, sorry, excuse me. Sorry.
Especially the first race with you guys. Race department at 6.
You're cutting out on us, AK.
Alright, is it better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. race department I'd seen probably about 3 months ago. Maybe as a favor, I have bookmarked.
It's dropping too many words. For some reason, I heard race department a couple of months ago, and that was about it. And now crickets.
Beep, 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 beep.
I am an Australian cricket there.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me all right now?
That's not a cricket. That's a frog, you tool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you, AK.
Is it better now? Is it still dropping out?
It's not dropping out now.
All right, sound. Yeah, so I'd seen race department like 4 months ago. Wow, okay, looks pretty good. I jumped into the calendar and I was like, wow, okay, looks like something's really happening. So, I'm glad to be part of this.
Well, we appreciate you coming.
Always enjoyed racing, but I'd never found racing and on.
Wait a minute, I lost
Right.
you at never found.
Right. Sensitivity low. I think that's what it is. Sensitivity was really low. That should be better now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I raced normal online lobbies, people just don't respect each other. You find people just gunning for you, hunting you down, just trying to spin you out because they're pissed off.
Yep.
And I just wasn't feeling that. And then saw race department, and it's good what you guys are doing, man. I really appreciate it. It looks really well organized, and that's one thing I like about it.
Well, that's what drew me in. I mean, like I say, when sim racing first started online, I tried it for about a month, and from, like you say, the guys running backwards on the track or
User
the guys that
disconnected from your
cheated,
channel.
I couldn't stand it, and so I had a bad taste in my mouth for 15 years. I haven't raced online in all that time until about 4 months ago when I signed up here. I've been part of the community just as a forum member since 2010, and then I signed up for the premium in March.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that there were a couple of things that happened, and they needed some help on the U.S. side, and they asked me if I would help. And that's part of why I do it. Is I enjoy it. I enjoy it when people show up and have a good time.
Oh yeah.
I don't enjoy it when people show up and they start bitching about everything and saying, well, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. Well, we don't need that. That's not the people we're wanting to race with.
No, not at all. It spoils the fun, and like when I read the race rules before I joined the race. So as soon as I bumped into Alan, I knew I had to give him the spot because but you don't get that sort of understanding when you're just playing random people. It's good to run with guys who know what to do when things happen like that, so you're not leaving a bad taste in anyone's mouth, like, whoa, you just knocked me off the road. And it's just little stuff like that counts.
Yeah, and that's what we found. And I mean, our US side, I mean, we're nuts because, like, let's see who's in here that races with. Pete does, and Andrew does, and Bud does. So if we have a slow night, there's only 6 or 7 of us. We wind up waiting just so we can run in packs. We're like a bunch of dogs. We run in packs just so you can have the side by side racing.
Yeah.
And and it's not, that's why it's nice when we have a night like this, when we have almost 20 people, because now we can do some proper racing, which is also what we want to do.
Yeah. I noticed though the US servers, they were a bit, or the US signups were less than the EU signups, because when I go into an EU race, it's always full. and
Yeah.
you know, a lot of reserves. I'm like, whoa! And then I jumped to the US one, and so what's behind that then? Is there a
Okay, AK, I'm going to introduce you to Bud Hull. Bud's from Texas, and he will tell you exactly what's wrong with Americans.
This will be entertaining.
Hey, Bud.
Yeah, he's not there. He's wandered
Oh,
off.
you got to be kidding. Bud just says they're all lazy. You know, you guys have probably heard of Nashville, Tennessee, country music.
Hmm.
You know, that's where I'm from. Bud's from Texas, and that's Bud just says they're too lazy to learn to go left and right. And I think to a large extent they are, even though we have a huge following over here of
yeah,
like,
a
you know,
larger
Trans Am
population?
series and the Indy series and you know, a lot of the road racing. But when it comes to the sims, I don't know if we're not in the right sim. I don't know if AC is just not the right sim for everybody, but
I guess so. I would imagine an AC is a European is done by European developers, aren't they?
yeah, but it
Uh,
doesn't matter. I mean, you got Americans here like me and Bud that are absolutely nuts
Hmm.
about this. I mean, we love it.
I would imagine iRacing, which is American, would have more Americans.
Well, yeah, but I've heard good and bad things about iRacing. Andrew,
User
have you
joined
ever
your
done it?
channel.
You've never done
Nah.
it either.
No, I've not done iRacing. I got turned off by the subscription.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
and
that's
that's one
what
of the
I've
things
heard
that-
from a lot of people.
It's one of the things that put me off Race Room as well.
Hmm.
Is Race Room the same way?
Well, Race Room, it's really weird. Race Room are trying to create, from all points, an iRacing style racing sim. That's where they're projecting it to. But what they want to do is they want to get into this eSIM market, where you're actually on track your eSIM, whilst there's real guys racing on real tracks. This is why they're starting to pair it up now. So that's where they want to take it. That's where they're looking at taking it. But I find it's too expensive. It's just a cheaper version of iRacing in my book.
Hmm.
I mean,
But
I
don't know.
I used to race up there heaps. I used to race up there stacks of time. I used to race in one of the leagues up there. But it's just ridiculous that every time they release something, you know, I mean, a lot of guys say, oh, but it's only a few euro. Okay, it might only be a few euro for you. Now you convert that euro to an Aussie dollar, and then you tell me how much it's costing me. One track can cost me up to $18. That's the same as you know, iRacing in my book.
Yeah,
It's conversion rates. So people forget about conversion rates.
that's you know, I think this right here, if you own a Assetto Corsa and sign up at race department, I don't think you can go sim racing any cheaper and have much more fun.
Sorry.
And when I say Assetto Corsa, I mean Andrew does a lot of the AMS, and he does it so much that I'm looking into it because I want to race with him.
Yeah, probably won't be doing that much of it in the future, mate.
What are you gonna do then?
I'm just gonna race AC.
Okay. Well, you know, until we can have some longer events where we need a race team or something. You know, because I mean, like I say, I love doing this right here, just the club racing, but I would also like to do some longer races and take turns in stints and stuff like that. It would be fun.
Oh, that'll be good though.
Yeah.
That will be good. Taking turns, but what?
But I don't know.
I'm also trying to get into the EMS races. They're pretty good. The new V10 car in EMS is fantastic. I think it's probably the second game that I think, in terms of force feedback, I think it's a different flavor, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. Once you get your steering and everything tweaked properly in the game.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And once it is good in the sense that when you get a setup that works well for your style, you really do notice difference as to the default to the setup you've put together. Because I like a nice tight steery. I like it to point. You know, it's got to be pointy. I like that, but it when you do it with AMS, when you find that pointy setup, you really do notice that it's, wow, this is really biting in the front end, you know. So it's got its good points, but I mean, all of them do. You know, AC's got its good points. Guys reckon Race Room has got its points. I mean, shit, there's even guys that reckon P-Cars has got some valuable points. Where I don't know, but you know, shit, hey, everyone to their own.
Of course.
The Pacific Coast is what is good about Project Cars. I mean, I like Project Cars, but only in single player, and you know, that's it.
Mate, there was only one thing I enjoyed about Project Cars, and that was the return on my investment.
Well, I enjoyed running in the rain and racing at night.
Yeah. I mean,
that's pretty neat.
The returns I got on P cars, bought Race Room and just about all the content I've got. Bought probably a couple of the mods, the DLCs for AC, and numerous other bits and pieces.
Yeah. But you know, here's a good example. He was talking about AMS. You know, when Reza came out with stock car, I remember my reaction to it was, okay, I hated R Factor because it felt very, very, it felt like I was driving on ice or in the rain a lot of times. I didn't really get much feel or feedback from it, but then you realize that this little group over there in Brazil makes this game off of that engine, and they show you what it can feel like. So I had the same reaction to that game that I did when I bought Netcar Pro. Anybody that's driven Netcar Pro knows you couldn't wait. When they said something about making AC, you were like, oh my gosh, this is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
And I think it is for, you know, we can sit there and pick it to death like we do, Andrew. I mean, you know, when you have to put air in the tires to get them to run warmer.
Yeah.
I just don't
but I
get
mean,
it.
that's as we went through the other day. There's a certain reasons why guys have coded the tire model the way they've coded it. Because when you, as we discussed, when you look at the very basics of how a tire warms, too much air makes the tire overheat. So the principle is still there. Add more pressure, it's going to still create heat. The only thing that doesn't do in AC, which it should do in AC, is balloon the tire. Well, that's the only thing that's not happening in AC that would happen in real life. You overpressurize to create heat, you balloon the tire, you're just running on that inch at the center tread. That's not going to work. But for the purpose of what the physics needs to do, it works. So that's why we, you know, when we were discussing about get a tire to go from blue to green, even though the pressure's right, you've got to start messing with dampers and spring rates and all this to get the right amount of friction to heat the tire up.
But let's ask two aliens, and even though we might not speak their language, but we can ask AK and Tony. Did y'all get do you guys ever use the tire apps or anything to monitor your tires?
Yeah, I've got that running.
Okay, which one do you use? The default one? Do you use Pro Tires? What do you use?
The default one.
Okay, I use that one, and I use Pro Tires so that I can watch my camber. You know, there's little blocks at the bottom of Pro Tires, and I only use Pro Tires for camber settings. So tonight, in the main app, the AC app, did your tires run green?
The two front, as soon as I hit the straights, they turned cold. They turned blue. They went cold, and then towards the end of the race, all the windy bits they went green again. So I had them green before I hit the very first straights, and then it just went cold.
Yeah, mine responded the same.
So what Andrew's talking about then, do you play with your setup to get the heat in the tires like that, or do you play with your setup to just to suit your driving style?
It just to suit my driving style. I don't pay too much attention. I watched a video made by one of the Konus developers, and he talked about tire pressure, and the only thing he mentioned was make sure you've got the same amount of pressure in your tires no matter what. So I've just followed that very simple rule, and when I run 2-3 laps and I see maybe the right ones 1 psi less, I just bump it up. And
Correct.
yeah, so when I later found out that there was nothing I could do about the temperature. Once I hit it straight, that was it. Couldn't do anything about it. But when I raced on Mugello, I couldn't use soft tires because that very twisty bit where you're going up the hill and it's twisty. My 2 right tires, front and left, were just overheating. Oh, they were just turning out immediately. So I had to switch down to mediums, but still try and keep the pressure the same. So I tweak my settings just to suit my driving style. I don't like a very loose end.
Yeah, well, see, that's all right. So exactly what you're talking about right there is that's the problem that Andrew and I have with this stupid tire model. If you put on some softs, I mean, there's some tracks where you can forget it. They just go orange and you're done.
Yeah.
You go out and you take it real easy on your out lap until the last few corners to start generating a little bit of heat, and then you hope and pray you can put in one good hot lap, get a time out of them, and they're toast.
Yeah.
And so, I've been trying to set my car up to make temperatures run warmer. In other words, get a better core temperature. But apparently the best thing to do is forget it and do like I always do. I always make sure, no matter what pressures I'm running, I make sure when every one of those tires is up to operating PSI, like you said, that they're all the same. Because if you ever drive one where they're not all the same, you get a really, really ill-feeling handling car. It's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed it with this one when I was practicing for this track. I went out on default settings, went around the track to see what, how the car felt, and it was just so unbalanced. I was getting like 28 psi at the front, 24 at the front left, 28 rear right, 24. It was just messed up. But somehow it does climb up a little bit though. To around 27, 28 when I've done all the twisty bits, but once I hit the straight again, it just like drops down to that manageable 26.
Yeah, and that's okay. I expect that. So yeah, I follow you there. But like tonight, I was running on that Corvette. I was running 19 in the front and 18 in the back, and I probably could have run a little bit higher to get my PSI to run more at 26, because I kept dropping down to 25 and sometimes 24. And but trying to hit that, because I don't want it to be too high, because you'll notice then that you do wear a set of tires out.
Yeah.
But and so for the longest in Assetto Corsa, I thought, okay, if you have a tire and you need just a little bit more grip, just take 1 psi out of it, so you have a little bit bigger contact patch. Because if you go too low, then the middle's not touching the road, so you don't have any grip. But I kept chasing it, and finally, one of the first races I drove in, this guy was talking about there's a way, there's ideal tire pressures.
Yeah.
So I started investigating that online. I started researching all that online. Ideal PSI with the Assetto Corsa, and lo and behold, there is for every single tire we run, every car, there is an ideal PSI, and that's when you'll notice that the numbers go. I think in these cars we run tonight, was the ideal pressure 26 or 28?
Yeah.
27. Seemed to be roughly where it was, anywhere from 26 to 28.
But there's literally though a magic number written into each file that has a difference.
I think that's where Pro Tire helps.
Right, and Pro Tire works off of that. Pro Tire works directly off of those numbers, and that's how I found out about it. Is I started investigating, and then I came across Pro Tire, and I'm like, and it directly tell if you're running It'll tell you if you're running below the optimum PSI or if you're running too high of a PSI.
The other thing I like about it too is it actually shows you your drop-off point of your tires.
It does, and that's good
That's
information.
advantageous, especially if you're doing practice setup.
Yeah.
And you're doing a race setup, practicing a race setup, because then you can actually see, all right, these tires are not going to do the distance. I'll go to a medium.
Yeah, I've
or a
got
hard,
right.
or, you know, and then you can alter your strategy to suit. And that's what I was saying in the thread. You know, the fact that if you, like you were saying earlier, Bobby, if you'd run hards, you wouldn't have had to have done tires. You could just splash and dash, off you go, or you know, because you had to stop. There was no, it was compulsory stop. You had to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just stopping for, you know, 5 seconds worth of fuel, because you've loaded your fuel up, you've got enough tires to do the whole stint, the whole race. So then you splash and dash 5 litres of fuel. You're going to make time on everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, AK, I would recommend you getting Pro Tires, reading about it.
I'm on it already. I'm just looking through it.
Yeah, and just use it, and use it in conjunction with. I use it in conjunction with the main app. But if you'll notice, just like Andrew said, what it will tell you, and it's very good about, you can literally see
where
how
your
the wear
tires
rate's
need.
coming down, and so it's advantageous because you can still, when you know you're going to have to take tires, and you've been running somebody hard, you might have to pit a lap or 2 laps early. That app will let you see that much better than the original Assetto Corsa. Don't you think, Andrew?
Oh, for sure. There's so much more information available to you just by looking at what's happening on the screen. I mean, as you say, Bobby, you get your inside, middle, and outside camber temps. It really does give you that little bit of extra information about where your tyres are at, what they're doing, and how they're surviving, or even if they're not surviving.
Yeah, I found it very difficult. I had to enlarge the default
screen,
app, just to be able to see what was going on. But just comparing them side by side, I'm on Pro Tires now, and it appears there's more. I can see a picture here that shows different colors for the inside and the outside and the middle.
Yeah.
So I think there's a visual interpretation already, so you don't have to be looking for numbers.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, you can just look at the colors and you know exactly where.
And know exactly where things are at. You're not sitting there, you know, doing 270, 280 k's down the straight, thinking, "Hang on, where are those numbers again?"
Yeah, exactly. I found that a very big problem.
There.
Yeah, I found that a bit of an issue.
And that's
looking at
that's what I do. Is I use the main app. I've got it set up just to the left of my virtual mirror, the Assetto Corsa app, so I can see my numbers. I want those numbers to be the prettiest green they can be. And then I use Pro Tires over to the side, and all I'm doing there is I can just glance over after you go through a hard complex of, you know, like the Porsche curves tonight. Well, trying to get your camber set up, tell if you're running hot on the inside shoulder, and if your outside shoulder is running too cool. I mean, you can just glance at it and you'll see it. It's blue after you come through that complex. It's obvious you got too much camber in it because you're never getting the outside of the tire down. So, and that's how I use the two. But if I could drive like y'all and put the little bit that I know into it, it would be unreal.
Just laps.
Yeah.
Well, I've only got 35 years of laps. You know, at 52, I'm running out of time for laps. But I
got 4 years on you. Stop complaining.
I know you do. I know you do. You and I are both going to go to the grave with a steering wheel in our hand.
Oh yeah, mate. They're going to have to bury me in my rig.
But it is fun running with these guys.
With the PC plugged in. Fuck that.
Yeah. I know last night I got down, last night I ran the fastest lap I ran, I think it was either a high 411 or a 412. So today when I came back on and got to practice for a little bit, Michael and I got on there and did it, and Bud, and I got down and ran a 408. That was with softs, but I got down and I ran a 408, and I thought, you know, and that's great strides for me. And then when I come in and then what was the fastest lap we had tonight? Do y'all remember? Was it a 204 or 203?
404.
I mean 404.
Yeah, I think 404 was the quickest lap that was put down.
Okay. And I can't remember if it was AK or if it was Alan. Or Toby,
Alan
you were
did
right
the
there
404.
too.
I got the results right here.
Alan did a 404 in
Yeah.
practice.
Practice. But race best laps. 405.
I did a 405.
AK. Yeah, AK did a 405.9 470.
That was the last lap. That I was light on fuel then.
Yeah.
Really, and I had
That was
really good
that was
tires.
the fastest. That was fastest lap of the race.
I did actually practice this lap about 3 days ago. I said, you know what, I'm gonna run these tires for an hour. So I just took an hour out. I told the missus, you know what, this is my 1 hour. Please do not disturb me. So I ran it, and I knew exactly how far I could push these softs and how much fuel and all that kind of stuff. But it's the first time I've actually done this, like really, strategized how I wanted to. I've always seen it in, Formula One and all that kind of, but I was like, how do I actually put it in practice? And
Practice,
I think, this has given me a chance to see, how it's done and how it might work out. And if it, so for me, I was like, I hope I get this right.
Yeah.
And it kind of paid off. It paid off.
No
And
more help for you then.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased. I think this is. I'm glad it went this way, because I think if I'd messed up really bad, I probably
it
just
would've put you
boxed up
off.
my wheel.
Yeah, that's an old problem that's been around for a long time in this hobby. Being put off by your first online event.
Yeah,
I think we've all experienced it.
I mean, AK, I knew when I signed up that, I knew I wasn't going to be nearly fast enough just from watching YouTube. But it surprised me that I was able to be as competitive as I was. The one thing I was lacking, though, was consistency. And like I'm looking at it tonight, I did horrible. It was 98.14, and my differential was 4.63 seconds.
Yeah, mine was even worse.
What was yours?
97 something. I had a couple of spins as well.
Well, see, I had one where I put it sideways in the road, but that was it. It was just sideways.
Spin bug, mate.
Yeah, you've taken over as spin master.
I was taken over as spin master.
I'm glad I'm not the whirlpool man anymore. I get tired of spinning. I ran that diff coast so low for so many months, and now I know, try to find it another way or it'll bite you.
Yeah. And I had the car hooked up pretty well. It was just one corner I just got in a little bit too deep. I had the bias to the rear end and just touched it just a little bit too hard. So she decided, let's go around this way. I'm sick of turning the other way.
Yeah.
And I thought I won't do that the next lap. So what did I do? The exact same fucking thing.
Well, see, I spent probably a week one time with the 458 at Spa.
Okay.
And I got it down to in the 217s, and was really happy with it. So I thought when it came time to race, that was one of the first cars I chose. And it takes so much work for me to try to get the front end to bite.
Yeah.
And then have it slick enough to where you have enough top speed on certain tracks. I couldn't drive it. Because it's a medium downforce track. I did fine there. But you start trimming that back wing off, and man, it's whirly with me.
Oh shit, yeah.
That's why I might have to drive. I might have to change from the Corvette in next week's race and just drive the BMW, just to give it a whirl. I know it's a pig, but
it's the tighter the track, the better it would be.
Oh, it was great tonight through the bendies.
Yeah, but,
But you
got
can
on
eat
the main
somebody
straight and it just
alive in
didn't have
anything
the
else.
ponies. Yeah, it didn't have the ponies down the straight.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
You know, and that Ferrari's got some grunt,
Oh yeah.
and it screams. I
Oh,
love that's
that's what I
probably my
loved.
favorite.
That's what I loved about it. You know what? Before this race started, I thought that I had to buy the DLC, the Porsche Pack 3, so I can get into this race. And I thought, you know what? Let me try this Porsche. And I got into it, and I just heard the engine sound. I was like, no, it didn't feel inspiring at all. Because I'd driven this, and the way the Ferrari screams, bloody hell.
Yeah, it screams like a banshee. I mean, it's amazing.
I love it.
No, I do too. And the Corvette, I drive the Corvette, and it just lulls you to sleep.
Same as the
I love it.
The
Yeah,
AMG.
but I love the sound of a V8, man. I do too. I'm addicted to 8 cylinders.
I do too. But I mean, for me, I grew up riding 2-strokes dirt bikes. So I love ringing something out. And the very first time I heard a V10 in person was up in Indianapolis when they brought the GP here. Yeah. And I remember we're walking up to Indy, and it was Friday morning. Nobody was out on track or anything, and we're just walking along, and all of a sudden I hear this, oh, whoa. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in heaven. And then to hear those things shriek down the straightaway, and then we sat right at the 100-meter board into the first turn, and they would come down, and when they start gearing down and stopping, they sputtered and backfired, and you thought they were ripping themselves apart. And then all you heard leaving was just scream. And you know, I just V10's my favorite era. The V12s were pretty good too.
Yeah, the V10s were I mean, any of the normally aspirated stuff was awesome.
Yeah, it's a different beast. I mean, that's why I say I love V8s because they're very throaty. But then, like AK's talking about with the Ferrari, it's just saying, please ring me out. I want to scream.